Inosuke and Zenitsu would suffer only minimal injuries during this arc, while the Hashira would have much less cleanup on their hands afterwards. Many lower-level Demon Slayers would be saved as well, meaning that the Corps would have more members for future fights. This would prove especially useful once the Infinity Castle arc comes around. Anyway, after recovering in the Butterfly Mansion, Tanjiro would get to know the other Hashira, same as in the original story. This time around, the Hashira would be impressed by Tanjiro's strength and would see him as their equal. They would be a bit skeptical about him carrying a demon around, but he would convince them that Nezuko won't hurt any humans. Of course, this wouldn't stop Sanemi from trying to attack Nezuko again. Thankfully, with his increased strength, Tanjiro would be able to fight back this time around, standing his ground against Sanemi. This would make the Wind Hashira extremely angry, and he would prepare to go all out against Tanjiro. Before that could happen, however, Kagaya would intervene and calm Sanemi down. Using his ability to predict things, Kagaya would sense that Tanjiro and Nezuko are only there to help, and would order the other Hashira to accept them. The Hashira would then part ways, with the main group getting orders for their next assignment just like before: find the demon-attacking passengers aboard the Muzan train. And guys, trust me, you are gonna be really surprised about how this arc goes. First, the group would meet with Rengoku at the train station, where Tanjiro would think back to his previous life. He would steel his resolve, vowing that he would not let Rengoku die this time. Initially, Tanjiro would tell the others that he can smell a demon near the front of the train, trying to lead them towards Enmu as best as he can without telling them about his previous life. Tanjiro would think that if they can kill Enmu earlier than before, they may be able to avoid the fight with Akaza entirely, as well as keep the train from derailing and killing a bunch of innocent civilians. With Tanjiro leading the others to Enmu, they would find the demon a lot quicker, and using Hinokami Kagura, Tanjiro would easily finish the fight. However, realizing that he is outmatched, Enmu would refuse to lose and would still derail the train in an effort to kill the Slayers. As the train starts crashing, Tanjiro would command the others to immediately start rescuing civilians. Considering that the train crashed much earlier this time around, Tanjiro would believe that Akaza likely won't show up. However, this is where he would be wrong. Closely following the train from the shadows, Akaza would suddenly jump out of the woods, shocking all the Demon Slayers present. Since all of them would be in relatively good shape after the quick fight with Enmu, Tanjiro, Rengoku, Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Nezuko would all begin to fight with the Upper Moon 3 together. The battle would be fierce, with each one pushing themselves to their limits. One important thing to remember here is that Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Nezuko were still very weak at this point in the main story, so despite their best efforts, Akaza would easily defeat them. This would leave only Tanjiro and Rengoku on the battlefield, determined not to let history repeat itself. Tanjiro would push himself past his limit, awakening his Slayer mark early. As he and Rengoku continue to fight, Akaza would realize that he is in way over his head and would begin to feel true fear for the first time since meeting Muzan. Seeing that he can't win this fight in time, Akaza would decide to cut his losses and flee before the sun comes up. However, this time, Tanjiro would be prepared for it. As Akaza attempts to run, Tanjiro would get ready to throw his sword just like before. Completely calm, Tanjiro would take a deep breath and steady his aim, hurling his sword straight through Akaza's neck. Not expecting this at all, Akaza would be taken completely off guard, his head severed in the process. And with that, Tanjiro would have successfully saved Rengoku, who would now live to fight with the others during the Infinity Castle. This would earn Tanjiro one hell of a reputation among the Hashira, especially after word of his and Rengoku's combined efforts to kill an Upper Moon gets around. After spending some time with Rengoku and recovering for a bit, Tanjiro and the others would soon get sent to the Entertainment District to investigate demon presence. Same as before, they would team up with Tenjin and immediately head there. In order to speed things up, Tanjiro would lie to the others again, saying how he can smell exactly where the demons are. Thanks to Tanjiro, the crew would find Gyutaro during the very first night and would immediately start the fight against him. Meanwhile, Zenitsu and Inosuke would go into the caves underground to rescue the hostages. As Tanjiro, Tenjin, and Nezuko fight against Gyutaro together, Tanjiro would immediately activate his Demon Slayer mark in order to gain an advantage. Seeing that Tanjiro is able to hold his own, Tenjin would leave him and Nezuko to fight alone while he goes to help Zenitsu and Inosuke against Daki. And to be completely honest, the demons wouldn't stand a chance in this battle. Using his sun breathing, Tanjiro would make easy work of Gyutaro and would slice his neck just as Tenjin slices Daki's. When the sun starts rising, Obanai would finally arrive at the scene and witness that all Slayers are alive and well. And yeah, in case you're wondering, this also means Tenjin would be ready for the final battle in the Infinity Castle since he didn't lose his arm. Anyways, since Tanjiro has defeated both Gyutaro and Akaza in this timeline, Kagaya would deem Tanjiro a major asset for the Demon Slayer Corps and would give him the title of Sun Hashira. Tanjiro would take the title with pride, continuing to hone his abilities and develop his sun breathing even further, knowing that the toughest battles are still ahead of him. He would also talk to Kagaya about Tameo, letting him know that she is an ally who is working to defeat Muzan as well, opening the door for them to start working together a bit earlier. During the Swordsmith village, things would go similarly at the beginning, with Tanjiro bonding with Moichiro a bit and getting a new sword from the Yorishi doll. Since Tanjiro now knows everything about the Demon Slayer marks, he would tell Moichiro a bit about them and would assure him that he believes he can unlock its abilities as well. As night falls and battle begins, Moichiro would engage Gyoko while Tanjiro and Genya begin to fight the split forms of Hantengu. The battle would progress much quicker this time, with Tanjiro knowing the demon's weaknesses and where to strike.